What's up, guys? D-Rock1992 here. So this next video it's been a long time coming for me. I'm going to be doing a tribute slash about on Paul Walker, who passed away a couple of years ago, unfortunately, in a car crash. Which is it's bitterly ironic because the big series that Paul Walker is involved in, we'll kind of talk about that afterwards, but the big series Paul Walker's involved in is pretty much all about cars, racing, and all that type of thing. So, it's with a heavy heart that, we'll celebrate the good times of Paul Walker and the movies he was in and all that sort of thing, and celebrate him as an actor, definitely. And with me to do that is a special guest of mine.
Hello, everyone. Arkham Assassin here.
And so, without further ado, let's get started on the Paul Walker About movie or video. Excuse me. So, the first movie that he was in was a movie called Monster in the Closet, and as many actors have done in their careers, they have started out with horror movies. Jennifer Aniston did it with a movie called Leprechaun.
I didn't know that, actually.
I think it was one of her first movies, if I'm not mistaken.
And I've seen the entire Leprechaun series. How did I not know that?
She was one of the main characters, I think, in Leprechaun. But anyway...
Anyways, we're not talking about Jennifer Aniston.
I already did talk about Jennifer Aniston in a video, and I probably talked about that Leprechaun movie. But anyway...
So, Monster in the Closet, huh? I guess he wanted to come out, huh?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe. So anyway... It took him a number of years to try to come through, as an actor. And actually, I'm going to jump over to the television career because I think he did a few television roles beforehand. Let's see here. He was in this show called Throb, which only lasted 23 episodes. He was actually on...
He was on an episode of The Young and the Restless. That's a soap opera.
Yes, The Young and the Restless. I think he may have been in more than one episode because I think he was a player on that show. So it's interesting. He got a start. He got one of his big starts in a soap opera of all things.
And it looks like he was in an episode of Touched by an Angel too. That's a very popular show.
Yeah, I've heard that. Definitely. That's pretty much it for his television career. I mean, so now we get into some of his earlier movies. And the one I've heard of, there's actually a few I've heard of. Pleasantville in 1998. He did a movie called Pleasantville, and this movie had Tobey Maguire, Jeff Daniels of Dumb and Dumber fame, Tobey Maguire of Spider-Man fame.
He's not all that... Not a lot of people liked him as Spider-Man.
But he's definitely well known as Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire.
He is, yes.
William H. Macy, who is... you'll probably recognize him as soon as I put up the picture.
Oh, yeah.
That's the guy right there. You'd recognize him anyway if... we put a picture up there.
And Reese Witherspoon was in this one. Yeah,
Reese Witherspoon. So a lot of people were in this movie, and this was one of Paul Walker's first major roles in a movie. And I mentioned Pleasantville because I've heard of the movie before.
I think I've heard of She's All That.
He did another movie called She's All That in 1999. One of the ones he is actually kind of known for, Freddie Prinze. You may best know him as Fred on the Scooby-Doo movies.
Yes.
Scooby-Doo movies.
Scooby-Doo and Scooby-Doo 2.
Yep. Rachel Lee Cook, I really don't know what she's all known for, but But She's All That's a teen romantic comedy film. Pretty popular. He was also in a movie in 1999 called Varsity Blues. Varsity Blues is a coming-of-age sports comedy drama film that has James Vanderbeek. He was on this TV show, and I cannot remember what it was, but Angelina Jolie's father's in it, John Boyd. Scott Conn, who is famous for the Godfather films, he's in this movie as well.
I don't recognize any of them.
But
Except for Paul Walker, of course.
Yeah. But yeah, another famous one, Varsity Blues, is another one that I've heard of, definitely. But yeah, these were some of the earliest films from Paul Walker, but no doubt about it,
His breakthrough was Fast and the Furious.
His breakthrough was definitely The Fast and the Furious. Now, his role as Brian O'Connor, he is an FBI agent turned, criminal, street racer turned criminal turned FBI agent, then a mercenary or whatever you could kind of call him in later films. But yeah, The Fast and the Furious. Now, there were two other people that were considered for this role, that were considered for the role of Brian O'Connor. Mark Wahlberg and Eminem.
Really? Wow. I did not know this.
I could, with Eminem, I couldn't really see it, honestly. I mean, Vin Diesel's role of Dominic Toretto, I could see more of him playing that type of role. But you've heard me say this on the videos of the Fast and Furious before. I don't think Paul Walker is the greatest actor alive. I really don't. I don't think he's okay as Brian O'Connor. He's all right. I think Mark Wahlberg actually would have made a great Brian O'Connor, honestly, because Mark Wahlberg's such a brand name. He was big.
Marky Mark.
Yeah, Marky Mark. Few years.
I mean, they were going to have another rapper try and go for it. Why not have Marky Mark go for it, right?
Exactly.
I mean, Paul Walker, who the hell's he know?
But yeah, The Fast and the Furious was...
I want to first off apologize if you don't get my humor. But I have a weird sense of humor. But yeah, continue.
But anyway, yeah, so Paul Walker was the one who took over this role, who made this role into his own, and you got to appreciate that. I mean, a guy who stays in a franchise for a long time and doesn't give up on it is a real winner in my book. And, the way he devoted himself to these Furious movies is great.
The only Furious movie I think he wasn't in was Tokyo Drift.
You're right. He was not in Tokyo Drift at all.
That's probably why I liked it more than the rest of them. But I tease.
But yeah, I think, The Fast and the Furious 1, it is up there on my list of best. I think the later ones, now I'll do a little run through on The Fast and Furious. 2001, The Fast and the Furious 1 came out. 2003, Too Fast, Too Furious came out. 2006 was Tokyo Drift, but as we mentioned, Paul Walker was not in that movie. Fast and Furious 4 came out in 2009. Fast 5 came out 2011. 2013 was Fast and Furious 6, and 2015, the final film of Paul Walker's career, was Furious 7. And so, I'll give you a quick run-through of my top Furious movies. Fast 5's my favorite one. Not because of Brian O'Connor. I mean, he adds to the film, definitely. Don't get me wrong on that. But I think Fast 5 is the best in the series because it actually introduces Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Yes.
And it saved the series. They called Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson franchise Viagra for something. It was the nickname they named him. So
Dwayne Johnson can save any movie, you ask me.
Yeah, he's a very talented actor, definitely. But we're not talking about him. We're talking about Paul Walker. So Fast Five, he was a good performer in this movie, and in Fast Five, you saw a lot of the great chemistry that a lot of these guys had. You know, Tyrese Gibson was one, Ludacris was one, or Chris Bridges, Vin Diesel, Michelle Rodriguez, Jordana Brewster. So many Fast and Furious characters that are extremely memorable that were played by these actors.
Yeah, being together all these years, you gotta have some sort of chemistry.
Absolutely. So Fast 5 is my number 1. Furious 7 would be my number 2.
I haven't watched Furious 7 yet.
You definitely have to, because I did a review on it, and I mentioned that the tribute to Paul Walker at the very end of this movie was a very touching tribute, very good tribute.
Yeah, they actually made a song, Wiz Khalifa and Charlie Puth, I think his name is.
Yep, that's a good song.
That is quite a good song.
It is a very good song.
It's very relatable too. It could pretty much be dedicated to anyone, really.
Absolutely. But it definitely fits with Paul Walker and the whole Fast and Furious type vibe that these movies gave out. So yeah, Fast 5 is my favorite. Furious 7 is my number 2. Fast and Furious 6 is my number 3. I like the Fast and Furious 1 as my 4. 2 is my 5. Fast and Furious 4 was my 6, and actually Tokyo Drift is my number 7.
Well,
now do you have a list of your...
I'm just going to do my top 3. And quite honestly, I actually really liked Tokyo Drift. So that's my number 1. Mainly because they're in Japan, and well, for those of you who don't know me, I really love Asian culture. So when they did a Fast and Furious movie in Japan, I obviously loved it. And well, drifting's really freaking cool.
I will give it that. It's really cool.
My number 2 would be Fast 5, and like he said, they introduced Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And again, for those of you who don't know me, I'm a huge wrestling fan, and that was a plus for me. And then my third one, only because I haven't watched Furious 7 yet, would have to be Fast and Furious 6.
Now, for those of you who haven't watched 6, there is an absolutely ridiculous stunt that happens in this movie that's it's outrageous, and I think you may know where I'm going here.
I think I know where you're going, yes.
Now, this is kind of bordering on spoiler, but it's only a little bit of the film.
It's been out for 2 years, come on.
Exactly. So, so Paul Walker and his team, Brian O'Connor and the team, are chasing this group of mercenaries. And Letty, who's played by Michelle Rodriguez, is in danger. Dominic Toretto, played by Vin Diesel, comes to save her. They're on this highway connected to these 2 little highways, and then in the middle of it is just this big empty space, and it's it goes right down. It's a big cliff-like thing. So Vin Diesel rescues Michelle Rodriguez. They go from one highway to the next, and you'd have to watch it for yourself to really get what I mean, but it's just a ridiculous, over-the-top stunt, which I think is the most over-the-top stunt that the Furious franchise has ever done, honestly.
Yeah, their action's gone up since The Rock joined.
Absolutely. The evolution of this franchise has turned from a franchise about racing, street racing and all that kind of thing, to more of a buddy heist type movie. Buddy heist type movies, Fast 5, they stole a safe, they stole a big safe full of money. So it definitely has evolved, and I think for the better, honestly. I think I had my issues with the first 4. I did like the first and the second one, but I did have my issues with those 2. I wasn't the biggest fan of Tokyo Drift, and the Fast and Furious 4, if you've ever, let's just say if you like Gal Gadot as an actress, there might be something wrong with you. I'm just saying. If you like her, great. I mean, I really hate her as an actress. She's terrible. But yeah, anyway, Fast 5 really does improve the franchise for sure. Now, to talk about some other movies between Furious 1 and Furious 7 that Paul Walker was in. Into the Blue came out in 2005, and I mentioned this because I think I've heard about it before.
Oh, Jessica Biel. Or no, Alba. Yeah.
So it's Paul Walker and Jessica Alba, and it's, guess what, an action film. Josh Brolin is also in this, and Scott Conn. And I mention that because, again, I know I've heard about the film.
I actually heard of 8 Below.
That was the next one. You read my mind. That was the next one I was going to talk about. 2006. He came out with a movie called 8 Below, which is a family drama adventure film, which stars Paul Walker and Jason Biggs from American Pie. The American Pie series.
Okay.
So there you go.
Yeah, other than the Fast series, I haven't heard of many other Paul Walker movies.
There is one that I have heard of, actually. There's a few here. In 2010, he did a movie called Takers, which I actually watched a long time ago, and I'm like, I didn't realize he was in it. I didn't really realize until I started liking the Fast and Furious movies, I think, that he was in this movie. And, so, Takers, it's a good heist movie. It's a good little heist movie. It's Paul Walker, Matt Dillon.
Chris Brown was in this one.
Chris Brown, of all people, and T.I., who's an actor anyway, as well as a rapper, and Idris Elba. Yeah, it was a good movie. I really did enjoy it. It was a good heist action type film. And so this movie was about a group of bank robbers that were commit a ton of robberies, and they're trying to commit this really big one. So I found it really good, and I would definitely recommend it to anybody for sure. This movie's a good film. Excuse me. So, and then there are a couple others that I know about. In 2013, he came out with a movie called Hours, and it was actually released 2 weeks after Paul Walker's death.
2, yeah. Okay.
2 weeks. So it was a thriller film. It was Paul Walker and this woman named Genesis Rodriguez. The only people I really know of in this film. But it definitely is one I know about. And then there's another one I know about. One called Brick Mansions. It was released 5 months after Paul Walker's death. Brick Mansions had the rapper RZA in this movie.
I'm not a rap fan, so I have no idea who that is.
I kind of have an idea. I don't know if I've ever really listened to any of his music, but he's in the movie, and Brick Mansions is an action film. And then, of course, we mentioned his last film. The last film he was ever in was Furious 7, released 1 year and 5 months after his death. And actually, he didn't finish all of the scenes in this film, so his brothers actually did a little stand-in for him.
Yeah. And I think I noticed he was in some music stuff.
Yeah, music videos.
Mm-hmm. So, So in 2013, this must have been before, obviously before he died, right?
It was
because he died in 2013, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he was in 2 Chainz and Wiz Khalifa music video, We Own It. That's pretty interesting. I think I actually heard of that song too.
He was actually in to promote Fast and Furious 2. Ludacris was in Fast and Furious 2. and he had a song called Act a Fool, which is a good Ludacris song, one of his better ones. And then Wiz Khalifa did the song See You Again, which is the tribute song, which is a posthumous tribute to Paul Walker, and it includes scenes by Walker from Furious 7. And then also in this film, this film's very good. For one thing, because Jason Statham is in it. Jason Statham is, he's a villain. He's the villain in this film.
Okay.
And he does a good job. He's underused, I think, a little bit, but he does a good job. And, yeah, Furious 7 has the best reviews out of the whole series. The best critical response on Rotten Tomatoes, 81%. And, like I said before, it gives an excellent tribute to Paul Walker, and definitely, if you see the end of the movie, it definitely ties it all up, ties it all together, and kind of does a nice little tribute and a send-off to Paul Walker, for sure. And it was touching. It was a very nice tribute, and it was one of the highlights of the film for me.
Aren't they supposed to be making another Fast and Furious movie, though?
You're right. They are making a Fast and Furious 8, which is coming out in 2017, I believe. And, you know, Vin Diesel will be in it, and all the other people will probably be in it. And I think his brother is going to be in it. One of his brothers. I think his name's Cole Walker or something like that.
Oh, to take the place of Paul?
I think so. So I think that is what they're going to do. I mean, Furious 7 made about $1.5 billion, the highest grossing Furious movie in the franchise.
Well, I think that might have happened because, you know, a lot of people wanted to support the movie because of what happened.
That definitely had something to do with it, that's for sure. And also because people love Fast 5 and Fast and Furious 6, and this franchise has gotten a nice... Starting with 5, it got a nice rebirth. You know, it was a rebirth of a franchise, and not all franchises get to do that. And, you know, it definitely was big for the It definitely was big for Furious 7 was definitely a big movie in this franchise. It made a lot of money, and it warrants 200 sequels, basically. I mean, this franchise, I see no evidence where it's going to end anytime soon, especially if Furious 8 makes the money that Furious 7 does.
Yeah,
sure.
I don't see them putting the brakes on the movie franchise yet.
Good one. Good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Nice pun. So, yeah, that is... Do you have anything to add on Paul Walker?
No. I don't believe so.
So that is it for our video on Paul Walker, our tribute/about video on Paul Walker. Rest in peace, Paul Walker, definitely.
Yeah, definitely rest in peace. You will be missed.
And I'm D-Rock1992.
Arkham Assassin.
And that is it for our video. We're out.